Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel today. My name is Usetale. If you are new here, thank you so much for stopping by, and if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back. In today's tutorial video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys how to cut and sew this beautiful cargo short. If this looks like a tutorial you're interested in, keep on watching, subscribe to the channel, and let's get started. For the making of that beautiful cargo short, you are going to be needing 1.5 yards of either a chinos fabric or a denim fabric. So this fabric you are seeing on the table is 1.5 yards and it is a chinos fabric. So this is what I'm going to be using. The first thing you're going to do is to draft out the pattern, and these are the body measurements I'm going to be using for the drafting of the pattern. Now to draft the pattern, the first thing you're going to do is to rule a line at the top here, which is going to be your starting line. Now you're going to go ahead to take your measurement. You're going to be taking out 1.5 inches, which is going to be for the waistband. You place 1.5 inches on your starting line, then you're going to measure down to your hip line. For my hip line is 9 inches. You will measure down to the crotch line, then you will take the full length of the short. You're going to come forward here to mark the same thing, the hip line, the crotch line, and the full length of your short. After you are done marking, you're going to connect the dots with your straight ruler. After you are done doing that, you're going to label the lines. So here is the waistline, the hip line, the crotch line, and the full length of our short. Now you're going to come to the waistline. You will take your round waist measurement divided by 4 plus ½ inch. My round waist measurement divided by 4 is 10. I'm going to add ½ inch, so I'll be marking 10.5. You will come to the hip line, you will mark the same thing, 10.5. You come to the crotch line as well, you're going to mark the same thing. So after you are done marking, you're going to connect with your straight ruler. Now after connecting, the next thing you want to do is to get the crotch extension, and to do that you're going to divide your round hip measurement by 16. So I said my round hip measurement is 40, so 40 divided by 16 is going to give me 2.5. So from this line here, I'm going to go out by 2.5. So after doing that, you're going to connect the crotch curve using your curve ruler, just like this. So guys, now after you are done doing that, you'll come to the waistline. You're going to get your round waist measurement divided by 4. So the round waist I'm making use of is 29 inches. Divided by 4 is going to give me 7.25. So I'm going to measure just like this. I'll mark 7.25. I'm going to be adding 1 inch to it, which is going to be for that. So I will add 1 inch to it. Then another 1 inch, which is going to be for sewing allowance. So after you are done marking, you're going to connect the last dot to meet your hip line. So just connect it like this. So after you are done doing that, this is what you're going to have. Now the next thing you're going to do is to mark out the dart. You're going to come to the waistline. I'm going to be using 4 inches for my dart. So I'm just going to go ahead and mark 4 inches. If you're a bigger person, you can mark 4.5 inches. Now from this 4 inches mark that I made, I'm going to mark ½ inch on both sides. Now the 4 inches that you measured here, you will come down here and measure the same thing, then you mark it. For the length of the dart, I'm going to be coming down by 4 inches. Don't worry, I marked 4.5 inches here, but I later reduced it to 4 inches. So you should mark 4 inches, then you go ahead to connect your dart. So guys, after you are done doing that, you're going to come to the full length line. You're going to take your round thigh measurement divided by 2. My thigh measurement is 24, divided by 2 is 12. I'm going to go ahead, then I'll mark it. So after you are done marking, you're going to connect from the crotch line here to meet that point. So guys, after you are done doing that, this is what you're going to have. You're going to label it the front piece. Now, the next thing you're going to do is at the waist area here, you're going to go up by half inch. So what I have is exactly half inch. So I'm just going to mark it up like that. Then I will use my ruler to connect from that point to meet the dot line. So just place your ruler on it the way you see me doing. Then you connect it just like this. So after you are done connecting, this is what you're going to have it looking like. So this is it for the drafting of the front piece. Now you're going to cut it out. After you are done cutting it out, this is what you're going to have. I'm going to place this on another pattern paper now to draft the back. So guys, this is it. I've already placed it on a fresh pattern paper for the drafting of the back. And the first thing you're going to do is you're going to extend the crotch line out. So after extending it out, you're going to be measuring 2 inches. So you're going to go ahead and measure 2 inches. If you're of a bigger size, you can measure what you have here, then you mark. But for my case, I'm going to be using 2 inches. So I just went out by 2 inches. Then I will come down by half inch. So just leave that mark there for now. Now, the next thing you're going to do is at the area here, at the waist area, you go up. So just draw a fence line up. You're also going to be going up by 2 inches. If you're of a bigger size, you have bigger bum, you can use 2.5 inches. So for my case, I went up by 2 inches. Now on the hip line, you're going to mark 1.5 inches. So after you are done marking at the 3 sides like that, you're going to connect this point here. So you connect this one to meet the hip point using your curve ruler. Can you see? After doing that, now you will use your straight ruler to connect from here to this point. So guys, this is what you're going to have. So that's the crotch curve of the back. Now the next thing you're going to do is you're going to measure your waist measurement, what you have on the front piece. You're going to add half inch to it. So now you're going to mark it on the back pattern paper. So after you are done marking, you're going to connect from that mark to meet the hip line. After doing that, you're going to connect it at the top just like this. So guys, after you are done connecting it like that, you're going to come to the end here. You're also going to be going out by 2 inches. Then you're going to connect it just the way you see me doing. So after connecting, you blend it out. Now, after you are done doing that, the next thing you're going to do is to mark out the dart. So for the dart, what I measured was 4 inches. Then I'm going to also measure the same thing on the back pattern paper. Then I'm going to go ahead and mark it. Then I'll take half inch on both sides. So for the length of the dart of the back, I'm going to be coming down by 4.5 inches. Then I'm going to connect the dart. So guys, after doing that, this is it. This is all for the drafting of the back piece. Now you're going to go ahead to cut it out. Now take out the pins. Then you label it the back piece. So this is it for the drafting of both the front and the back pieces of the cargo short. I'm going to be transferring these patterns now to my fabric. Then we cut out all the other pieces. So guys, this is it after I was done transferring the patterns to the fabric. So when I was cutting, the only place that I added sewing allowance to was to the waist. So as for the body, we already gave it the sewing allowance while we were drafting it. So I just added allowance to only the waist. And as for the end here, I did not add any allowance for the folding because there is a way I'm going to be doing it. Don't worry, you will understand in the course of the video while we are sewing, okay? Now the next thing I'm going to cut out is the one for the zipper fly. So you're just going to go ahead and fold your fabric together just like this. So fold it together like this. You're going to measure it. So for the width is going to be 2 inches. Then just go ahead and cut it out the way you see me doing. So after cutting, the length is supposed to be 8.5 or 9 inches. So just go ahead and cut it. So this is it. Now I'm going to be cutting out the second one, the shade. You're going to place it on a single fabric. You can see this time around, I did not fold my fabric into two. So it's just a single piece. So go ahead and cut it out just the way you see me doing. So these two pieces together with the zipper is what we are going to be using for the fly zipper. Now the next thing you're going to cut is the cargo pocket. You're going to fold your fabric together into two just like this. For the length of my cargo pocket, I'm going to be making use of 8 inches long, but I'm going to be adding extra inches to the 8 inches for sewing allowance. So I added extra 1.5 for the folding and also for the sewing allowance. So I'm going to be cutting it out using 9.5 inches. So I'm just going to go ahead and mark 9.5 inches just like this. Then I'll mark the same thing here. I will use my scissors to cut it out. Now for the width of the pocket, I'm going to be also making use of 8 inches. Divided by 2 is 4 plus all the sewing allowance. I'm going to cut it out using 4.5 inches. So after you are done marking, just go ahead and cut it out. So this is going to be for one cargo pocket. You can see how it's going to be. Now I'm going to be using that one to cut another one for the second cargo pocket. So guys, after cutting, this is what you're going to have. So these are the two pieces for the cargo pocket. So go ahead and mark the wrong face. So I'm just making arrows on it so that I will know that's the part that is supposed to be facing up. So now the next thing I'm going to cut is the pocket cover. So you're going to fold your fabric together into two. So the length of the pocket cover is going to be 2.5 inches, but I'll be cutting it out using 3.5 inches. So just go ahead and cut it out like that. You will also be cutting two for the two pockets. So after you are done cutting, this is what you're going to have. So let me show you guys how we are going to use it. So it's going to be on top, covering it just like that. So that's going to be for the cargo pocket. Now the next thing I'm going to cut is the waistband. You're going to fold your fabric together into two just like this. First of all, I'm going to trim out this label part. After doing that, I will take my round waist measurement divided by 2 plus the extra 3 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and mark it. Then here, I'm going to be measuring down 4.5 inches. So just come down by 4.5 inches, then you mark. After you're done marking, connect with your straight ruler, then go ahead to cut it out. So that's going to be for the waistband. Now, after cutting the waistband, the next thing you're going to cut is the piece you're going to use for the belt hole. So for that, I'm going to be marking 1.5 inches wide. Then I'm going to connect with my straight ruler. Then you go ahead and cut it out. So guys, this is what we are going to use for the belt hole together with the waistband. So just place them aside. Now the next thing I'm going to cut are the pieces I'm going to be using to sew the cargo pocket. The type of cargo pocket I'm putting, I'm going to be sewing a fabric around it. So I'm going to measure around this piece to know how long it is. So after measuring, I have about 27 inches. So I'm going to be cutting out a long piece that is up to 27 inches long. So 27 divided by 2 is around 13.5. So what I have is enough. Then I'll cut it out using 2 inches wide. So mark it, then go ahead and cut it. You're going to use that one to cut another one because we need two pieces for the two cargo pockets. So these pieces now are what I'm going to be using to sew the cargo pocket. You're going to place it together with the cargo pocket pieces. Now the next pieces I'm going to cut out are the ones I'm going to be using to sew these rings to the cargo pocket. I'm supposed to have 4 of this particular one, but I don't have 4, I only have 2. So I'm going to be replacing the other 2 with the rectangular shape. If you have 4 of this one, then you're good to go. If you don't, you can just replace it with the rectangular shape, okay? Now to cut out that piece, I'm going to fold my fabric together into two just like this. I'll bring the ring So how wide it is about 1 inch wide, plus the sewing allowance. I'm going to be cutting it out using 1.5 inches. Now for the length, I'm going to measure about 15 inches long. You're going to be using this one to cut another one because we need two for the two cargo pockets. So guys, after cutting, you're going to also cut another one that is not as long as 15 inches, just about 4 or 5 inches long. So this one, we're also going to be making use of it. We also need it for the sewing of the rings to the cargo pocket. So go ahead and place it together with the cargo pocket pieces. Now the last thing we are going to be cutting is the back pocket. You're going to fold your fabric together into two like this. For the length of the back pocket, it's going to be around 6 inches, but I'll be cutting it out using 7.5 inches. The extra 1.5 inches is for the folding and the sewing allowance. Now for the width, I'll cut it out using 3.5 inches. So guys, this is what you're going to have. You can see. Now you fold it together again. You're going to be making a V cut here. So just cut it out just like this. Then you have it looking like this. Now you are going to use this to cut out another one for the second back pocket. So guys, after cutting, this is what you're going to have. So these are going to be for the two back pockets. Go ahead and mark out the wrong face. So this is it for the cutting of all the pieces that we are going to be using for the sewing of the cargo pocket. So let me just explain to you again what we have here. So we have the back and the front pieces. Here we have the ones for the fly zipper. Here we have the one for the waistband and the belt hole. Then these ones are going to be for the cargo pockets, then the pocket cover, then the ones that we are going to sew around the pocket. Okay, so these are going to be for the ring. So the pieces we cut out for the sewing of the ring. Then we have the ones for the back pockets. So guys, these are all the pieces we are going to be joining together in our next video to share with you guys how to sew the beautiful cargo short. Please don't forget to like, subscribe and share.